Is that what? Because my question was around like the difficult. Why do you think it's so difficult at this life stage kind of to maintain it? Or is it because we're not compartmentalizing? I need Luxolo to be my FIFA guy, my what, with all this, and then that just makes it difficult. No one person can really touch all those points.
Hey yo, what it do, what it does it. Well, welcome to another episode of the Intentional Conversations podcast. If you do not know me, my name is Luxolo Kendane, and I'm here with the mastermind himself, the marvelous.
What's up?
What it do, my man?
Good, bro.
You steady?
I am very well. Glad to finally get to do this.
You know, bro.
I think the people have been asking me why we're not more consistent, and I think you need to address that, bro. Maybe tell them.
Yeah, it's nice that people actually ask us why we're not
right,
consistent.
like, when you drop in the next one. That's good, guys. It's good. We like you guys missing us.
It's the fact important. That people have, I guess, when I say people, I'm not like maybe two people or whatever.
Listen, bro, we have fans. We appreciate you guys. We know what we should start doing?
Yeah.
Shout-outs.
Yeah.
Start doing shout-outs to you guys.
Our boy Jay does it when he does his podcast. Yeah. The people ask about the music.
Nice.
So hopefully this year, 2023.
We got some things coming.
2023.
We got some stuff.
I sent you some snippets. Hey. Tell the people. But don't tell them about the song. Just tell them about the vibes.
I don't think they're ready.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I think some of the stuff that I've listened to, that you've done, is like, okay, you in your bag right now. Which I really appreciate.
It's bag season, yeah?
Yeah. It's
no more
I think that's as much as I can tell them. What can I tell them?
It's no more youth group season. You know what I'm saying? It's no more get everybody up and down season. I
think they haven't heard you like this. I think they got a taster from the last project.
The last project, yeah.
But I don't think they've heard.
But this is like, yeah. It's an interesting thing of I'm enjoying growing up. I'm enjoying.
Yes. Good segue, bro.
I'm enjoying like. We're not old, but I'm enjoying getting older.
Yeah, transition.
And the transition to that dreams, I'm enjoying my dreams changing, I'm enjoying how I'm changing, where I don't know where you were at 5 years ago. How would you describe how Marvin was 5 years ago compared to how Marvin is now?
Bro.
And especially 5 years ago, you were probably saying, I won't be like this sort of a person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
interesting. So I feel like, firstly, that's a totally different guy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to think.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that man was different. It's almost hard to actually think about it. I think I had stuff, and here's, I think, a good segue to what we, I know today, just for your information, we're chilling, we're talking, just about what it's like to be young at our life stage. Bro, I was thinking about this. I feel like now I'm a cool uncle now. I've gotten that stage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're in your uncle era.
I'm the uncle stage.
Hey! You're in your uncle era.
So now I'm looking back and I'm like, okay, and that's what we're talking about today, right? So 5 years ago, I thought by this time, I would have had some things established, some things settled, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that, and I guess all millennials are going through this.
Yeah.
It's this thing of like, we almost had these like grandiose dreams.
Yeah.
And then life hit us.
And just life hits. And then when life hits,
it hits.
Life hits.
Right? It does. And it's like kind of like Mike Tyson, he says, everybody has a plan until it gets hit in the mouth.
Oh, man.
Right? And I think for us, especially because we've gone through 2020 to like 2022, right?
Yeah.
And that season has been crazy for all of us. All of us.
Yeah, I think there is like a pre-2020 person.
Bro, definitely.
And there's like an after 2020 person.
Definitely.
What do you do with... Today we're speaking about adulting.
Yes.
Growing up.
Basically.
The beauties, the pleasures of it. We're going to be touching on a couple of things. But what do you do, Marv, with failed dreams? I've been thinking about potential. And so the reason why you're thinking about the stuff that you were thinking and dreaming about the stuff that you were dreaming about was because either you believed that you had potential or somebody told you you had potential. Or somebody was like, dream big dreams, my son. You can change the world. And then now you're like,
Bro.
What do you do with those failed dreams?
Me personally? I think
yeah.
I've learned, because I wasn't like this. Like, you pivot, and that life is not about getting what you want. Like, you will not.
Yeah.
But I think varsity, you have this thing where, and I don't know if it's the varsity culture or being at that life stage, where it's like they tell you the world's your oyster, all these vibes, right?
Yeah.
And I think to a certain extent, of course, right? But I think they don't prepare you well enough for like when life hits. And so I think what I've learned is when those the disappointments, I like to maybe see them that way. Yeah. Things didn't go the way I wanted it, is to pivot. And I think with me, my faith helps me a lot, bro. I can't lie. I think having faith in God and knowing that ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, He's in control.
Yeah. There's a certain level about the whole God control thing, and there's a certain level of you just have to be content with that. But then also you're like, goodness, bro, like why are things not popping the way that I'd want them to?
Yes.
And if they haven't popped up until now, there's a certain level of how you get into your next stage of will it ever happen?
Yes. There is a hopelessness or disappointment that sits in there that you kind of have to wrestle with. How would you say on your end, how's that been?
I had big dreams. Yes. I probably still
have big dreams. I was gonna say,
the biggest and the dreams I dreamt were not material things.
Dope.
It wasn't
Ferrari.
Yeah, I didn't want to like, hey, by this age I want to get married, or like, hey, this age I want to have this. You know, I never even had like the ideal age to have all of that stuff. But I had dreams of the possible impact I wanted to make.
Yes.
The possible tangible things that I wanted to do on the ground. And a lot of those things haven't happened.
Yes.
It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like there's something that God has gifted me personally with. I mean, she's gifted other people with.
Yes.
Of like being able to say, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
The next season is gonna look like.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it 110%, and then I'll give it to God.
Yeah.
But I did that for the last maybe, let's say, 10 years. So now I'm like,
things look good.
Should I still kind of run with the same energy?
Yes.
What does it look like now? Yeah. If it didn't happen the way that it has, there's a certain level of disappointment that one has to grapple with.
Interestingly, especially talking about you, bro, your first album, I think it was your first album.
Yeah.
Remember what it was called?
Yeah, so I dropped a mixtape EP, whatever you want. I actually wanna put it back. I'm gonna put it back on the stores.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it back on the digital stores.
Okay. You take it off. It's not there anymore.
Are
we talking about the same thing?
So my first official one. No one's hearing that.
Okay. Yeah.
Ever again. That was my first. That was my alias called Kenzido.
Yes.
I'll send the picture so that you can actually put the graphics right here.
Yeah.
I feel cool. Right here. It was called Blessed to Be a Blessing. Okay. I'd released this at 17.
Okay. So I was going somewhere with this question. What's the one that was called Resilient?
So then that was my sort of first mixtape.
Okay.
Then the second one was right after I finished high school. That was called Past 12.
Yes.
I love that name, Past 12. Like,
what was the theme 12, there? What was the theme there?
I've just finished matric, Past 12. But it's also a new year, a new season.
Come on.
Hey, my man.
Yeah, you had all these connections. Love it. Let's go.
And then when we met, I just then dropped Resilient. Okay. And I think Resilient I dropped in 2013 or 14. Do you remember when we met?
Yes.
Somewhere there.
Yeah. 2014, 15.
So that was my sort of first official EP release, digital stores, because all the other ones I released. And then what I considered my first album was Langa, which I dropped in 2020.
Got you. So the reason I'm going to Resilient is because this is one of the things I've learned with this stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think from you is pretty dope because you had that already. Like even I mean, maybe I'm putting this on you, but like I feel like that's what you were saying with that album. Like, hey,
Yeah.
right, you have to be right,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's what I've learned. Like, life is life.
Yeah.
And when you're adulting, it's you're gonna need to be resilient.
Yeah.
And I think 2020, 2022, and I don't know why I'm going here because I feel like maybe those are the toughest years we've gone through as millennials, right? Resilience.
Around the world.
Around the world, totally.
You know, yeah, it's affected people.
Resilience is that one thing that you can say you needed in the season and probably going forward. Because I don't think that's like the last thing we're gonna see that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have failed dreams, unmet expectations, if the hopes that you've hoped for your life, for your future, for your country, for your community hasn't come through, you have to be resilient. You have to have the ability to bounce back.
Definitely.
I'm always fascinated with people who are double my age, who are still dreaming, who are still starting off new adventures, who are still doing stuff. And we just get so disappointed with the 2 or 3 or 4 things that haven't happened in our lives. And we really need resilience.
Definitely. And if you're a person of faith, it's like taking those disappointments, those broken dreams, those hopes to Jesus.
Yeah.
And like bringing it to God because I feel like he's not intimidated by that. He wants you to bring it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because look, bro, some of those things for me personally has been like what the word talks about, like selfish ambition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which God is like, hey, that's just for you. You're not trying to bless anyone else. You're not trying to, you know what I'm saying, bring value to the world. You just want you, right? And I think God won't bless certain things like that. You know? I've had to learn that, right? I'm talking like the uncle on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like the 30 or 30 plus.
I was actually reading. I'm reading the book of James at the moment, and I'm fascinated with the letter. But I'm stuck, and I'm still stuck on James 3.
Okay.
And James 3 speaks mostly about wisdom. And I was very interested. Like when I think about wisdom, for me, it's like the ability to make wise decisions. It's the ability to differentiate between something that's nearly correct and something that is correct. You know? It's the ability to see through the fog. But James says, in James 3, he says, if you are wise and understand God's ways, prove it by living an honorable life, doing good works with the humility that comes from wisdom. So, okay, cool. So he says, okay, wisdom is understanding God's ways. So it's not Marvin's ways or whatever. It's understanding God's ways. And then you prove it by living a life that is honorable, right? So like wisdom comes with a life that is honorable. So somebody that's wise will honor the least of the least in society, will honor the ones that speaks badly about them. It's that kind of like when somebody slaps you on this cheek.
The ways of Jesus, bro,
right?
the ways
like
of God.
Yeah, like speak honorably, live a life that is honorable. Doing good works. So like do good works. Like change the world. Like give people packages of food if you need to. But then he says it with humility that comes from wisdom. The biggest issue when it comes to humility is that sometimes we say we are humble, so we're not going to do good works. Bro. Or when we do good works, we become so humble, we don't even tell people about it.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying
you should go tell.
Advertise.
Yeah, like I'm doing like a favor.
I'm not saying advertise, or I'm not saying take the credit, right?
Yeah.
But I think in the doing, and for you to be able to do it, wisely, we have to have a spirit of humility. I am doing this not because of the outcome. I'm doing this because God Himself is doing it through me. So there's a certain level of attaching yourself to the good work, but also being able to detach yourself because it's not about you. So like there's people, what I'm trying to say is there's people who do good works. And when you actually credit them, they're like, oh no, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes there's a certain level of like false humility that sort of creeps in.
Yes, of course.
And I'm not saying, and it's a big struggle. I'm not saying people should take all the credit, but there is something about being thankful that God gave you the ability to be able to do what you've done.
Bro, you just reminded me, Paul would say certain things that would come off as arrogant.
Yeah.
He'd say, I worked harder than all of you.
Harder than all of you.
And then he says, but it's not me, it's God working through me, right? I'm obviously paraphrasing that, but like, and he'd say, I pray in tongues more than all of you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it doesn't sound right.
Doesn't hit right.
But somebody said this, it's actually one of the leaders at our church, and he said, Moses wrote the book of Genesis, right? I think it's Genesis.
Yeah.
And in the book of Genesis, he was the most humble man. So he wrote of himself. So you can be humble and know it and still say certain things.
I'm fascinated.
You know what I'm saying? That's a bit interesting. Anyway, I think we're going
to segue, but this is the verse that hit me. He says, but if you are bitterly jealous and there is selfish ambition in your heart, do not cover up the truth with boasting and lies. So what hit me was, for you to be humble, for you to be wise, you can't be bitterly jealous and have selfish ambition. How can you be wise and be envious? How can you be wise and have selfish ambition? And so the prayer every day is, Lord, give me wisdom for this day.
Yeah.
But if I want wisdom, really, I have to let go of selfish ambition. If
I
want to live a life that is wise, that has the characteristic of Jesus, I need to let go of envy.
Listen, bro.
He says here, bitterly, what is it? Bitterly jealous. There's like this jealousy. There's jealousy, and then there's like bitterly jealous.
Levels.
You know?
Labels.
And so I was like, Lord, help us as young people to be wise. But that means I have to let go of jealousy. When you get something that I want, I need to celebrate you like I got it.
Yes.
Then I need to let go of selfish ambition. You know, I need to let go of
me,
chasing me, and what I want to get.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. Before you go to the next thing, I think that's a good. So we're talking about millennials, adulting, and I'm thinking about like friendships, right? And one of the things that I've seen, like again, looking back, it's like friendships where there's I want to call it unhealthy competition, or where the jealousy would come out of.
Yeah.
You know that jealousy is talking about, it says
bitterly jealousy. Yeah.
And maybe I want to ask you and bring it to you. So, let's talk friendships, right? What have you seen in terms of like just, growing up and then the transitions and all that in terms of friendships? Because they are hard. They're very hard. I thought for me, and my dad would always say this, you think the friends that you're with, you're going to have all your life.
For life, yeah.
I didn't consciously think that, right? But I think something in my head believed that, right?
Yeah.
Coming back to that thing of like dreams, like all the friends I had in high school, all the varsity.
Yeah.
And so for me, I found it a difficult transition to know, like, hey, some friends are it's just gonna end, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna end like that. It's gonna be like, hey, listen, we're cool, but it ends. Or we're not cool and it ends, you know? And that's been hard. And I think some of it I'm still wrestling with. That's why I'm asking this question. How have you found that and how have you navigated that?
Yeah. I think for me, if there's one thing that has disappointed me in life more than even my failed dreams or expectations and hopes, is probably the loss of friendships.
Because you're very relational.
So I think those hit me much more. I'd rather lose money, I'd rather lose stuff than lose people. So that particularly for me was hard.
Yeah.
I think it was like, even if, when I was still in the game, like losing a girlfriend.
Yes.
I think it would hit me a bit. Maybe then I was like, it's just life.
Yeah.
But actually, when I think about it now, it actually hit me a bit more than I thought. I think for me, I think it's the hardest. If I'm honest now, not trying to sound cool on the podcast, I'm honest, I think I'm a bit reserved now with starting new friendships.
Yes. No new friends, you say?
I am. I'm open, but I'm a bit more reserved. I'm very careful.
Is it because because of punches in the face?
It's because of the punches.
Yeah.
Necessary punches.
Yeah. Okay.
Life happens.
Okay.
Life happens, and even if you invest in friendships, doesn't mean that they're gonna be there for life. It just happens.
Yes.
Life. So I do think I find myself a bit more reserved. I find myself in a new city, trying to make new friends, and I'm like, I wish I could go back to Lupo 5 years ago.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast or watching it. Hey, why don't you please help us create content that inspires people to live a life outside of themselves? I would love for you to, would you consider just being a partner with us on Patreon, where you will get exclusive content and you might just get the content before everyone else gets it. Also, hey, why don't you just quickly subscribe to our YouTube page and so that you can see everything first. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
So I do think I find myself a bit more reserved. I find myself in a new city, trying to make new friends, and I'm like, I wish I could go back to Lupo 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Would kind of pound Marvin.
Yes,
Marvin, let's
yes.
go for coffee.
Hit
It's. So I do find myself a bit more reserved, but also I'm trying to figure out if maybe it's just the life stage of being married, and now my friends are also Ntsiki's friends. So we're trying to balance a bit of that. But in my heart of hearts, I do find myself, because I've been hurt, a bit more reserved in starting or strengthening friendships, and that for me, I think, has been one of the most difficult things about growing up.
But tell me, okay, what are kind of the others, right? What are the other things that you've seen or experienced in terms of like relationships at our kind of age group?
Yeah.
It makes it so difficult, because I feel like it's difficult, even the ones that you do have.
Yeah.
I'm finding it like it's so much difficult than it was, bro.
The power of intentionality, I think, is still something I still value. I don't have to speak to Marvin every day, but whenever I think of him, I can send you a quick voice note. I can give you a call. I think there's still a very big need of being intentional around sort of hitting up friends. And for me, then it's still trying to balance friends and work, friends and pleasure. There's that. I've had to compartmentalize my friends.
Okay.
So.
Come on, give us the wisdom, my brother. You see, that's what I'm talking about. So
these are my friends that I do sports with. These are my friends that I want to read books with. These are my friends that I'm chatting theology and philosophy with. These are my friends that I want to have over for FIFA. These are my friends that I will invite over for a braai. These are friends that you never invite for a braai.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Those are important.
Yes.
That's an important distinction. Yeah.
And you can't have a friend or friends that are everything.
That's a great.
They can't be everything.
No.
And number two, you need friends, people that can anchor you, people that can tell you when you're wrong. That's one of the hardest things for us as millennials.
Do you think we are not intentional, bro? Is that what? Because my question was around like the difficult. Why do you think it's so difficult that at this life stage kind of to maintain this? Or is it because we're not compartmentalizing? I need to call it to be my FIFA guy, my what, with all this, and then that just makes it difficult. No one person can really touch all those points. We're not unless you.
I think it's our ability to get deeper. Our ability to say sorry. Our ability to say, listen, I messed up here. I just wanted to let you know, please pray for me.
Yes.
Hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, this is actually where I'm at. So I found with some of the relational breakups that people can't be honest enough to say I'm struggling. They can't be honest enough to say, listen, the reason why I haven't replied to your message for the last 5 years has because I've been battling through this and I didn't know how to process it.
Bro.
Now, I think that you are running away from me. You're not replying.
Yes.
That's why you haven't replied in 5 years. But actually, you're going through the most.
Yes.
And if you just told me,
bro,
I probably would have. Yeah, I probably would have like sort of picked it up and I could have understood.
Yes.
But because I'm intentional about relationships and friendships, I want you to go with the same energy that I'm going for. And I think the biggest issue that we have, seen in my own life and others, is we do not have people that we can be truly honest with, because we're showing face.
Bro. So vulnerability, right? If you're real friends, like there should be sorry, I just want to read this. So I had my past birthday recently.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, because I'm not going to see, I've seen some people, and whatever, but there's some people I haven't seen in a while. I'd like to have like a little thing, right? So I was like, maybe let's do a picnic.
And this is a big thing because you were never a birthday guy.
Facts. Actually, you got me on. Don't worry. I can't lie. I think after that last one, I think you kind of. I think I always celebrated life, but I didn't think it was that important.
Yeah. It was just like
It was like, yeah, it's a birthday. Yeah.
It was just another day.
Anyway, so a friend of mine. So I invite people to this thing, but a friend of mine sent me this, and I really appreciated it. Said, so sorry for only getting back to you only now. I'm not able to make it. To be honest, not in the emotional season for being around a group of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been wrestling whether or not to come the entire time, but I just don't have the capacity, and I don't want to get there and be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Genuinely sorry for being candid. She apologized for being candid about it, but like I was like, I really love that. I really appreciated that. Instead of you not coming or just saying, hey, sorry, I can't make it. I'm like, she was honest enough to say, hey, my emotional tank and where I'm at right now,
too low.
I can't be there. But that means that's because we are such good friends. She can say that.
And so you've created enough of an environment for you to be able to communicate that. And I think that's the thing I appreciate about you and our friendship, that I know that you'll tell me the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I say, Marvin, like, should we do this? If you say, I'll think about it, I know.
You know, yeah.
It's not popping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's the fact that, and I know, even though you'll say you'll think about it, you will come back to me and say, bro, I don't think this thing is going to work.
Yeah.
There's power in having friends that are able to say no to you.
Say that again, bro. Please say that
Bro,
again.
like there's a power in having friends who are able to say no to you candidly, in a respectful manner and way, and friends who can say, when you are doing something that's wrong, it's to say, Marvin, or whoever, that is offside.
Definitely.
Like, but we want friends that would like
like
us all the time.
Bro.
The vibes are always good. But like,
no, like,
how far and how deeper does that go?
And it's not authentic. And I think that's the thing. I think non-authentic relationships will wither off. That's what I found. I think what has happened is, for this friend, it's like we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's always been authentic.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is you can build this relationships or these friendships that are not authentic, and so you have the length of time.
Yeah.
But because you can't be candid, you can't be like as honest as possible. Then when things are not great, then it fizzled out because there was no depth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big one, and I trust that. May God make me be a good friend. Me as a person, you know.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Work on my own sort of emotional health and maturity, so that I can be the good friend that I should be and I need to be.
You know
which
what you
means
do
I
really
need to
well,
be
bro.
honest and
to be honest, now because sorry to cut you off, but like there's something you do really well, and that is, and I've seen you do this multiple times, when either you've wronged somebody or somebody has wronged you. And this is not even people in your like.
They're not in the.
They're not.
Circle.
Yeah. Sometimes they're a bit there on the side, right?
Yeah.
You're very intentional to go make peace.
Yeah.
And it's really been great to see that, bro. Like, because it's kind of challenged me a lot. Like I struggle with that. I can't even lie. Like, bro, once we're not in good terms, for me, it's hard for me to kind of engage.
Yeah.
But I see that in the scriptures where it talks about like being people of peace.
Yeah.
Like me and you don't have to now chat every day. We don't really, you know what I'm saying? But we have to be at peace.
As long as if I can see you on the streets
and we cool,
I don't get a tingle in my body.
Yeah. Like
I don't like want to turn away and run away, because how healthy is that,
bro?
And that's for me, when I first realized was an ex-girlfriend that I saw, and I had this twitch in my body.
Yes.
And I was like, Lord, I do not want to be feeling things I shouldn't be feeling for a season that has ended. And so I probably need to end it.
Sure.
By either for me going to the person saying, sorry, this is whatever.
Yeah.
Or I need to just prayerfully say, like, I'm holding on to stuff I shouldn't be holding on to.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I think also is affecting us as friends is this whole cancel culture thing, right? You know, Marvin doesn't reply to my messages for 5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm done with Marvin.
Dude, listen. So I was yesterday.
Marvin does not invite me to his birthday party. No longer friends with Marvin. I'm like, bro,
It was so quick.
You're not 15 anymore,
It's like
bro.
with Twitter in real life. I was listening to a 13-year, 14-year-old, 15-year-old yesterday at youth. And they're talking about, oh, my friend, I had to let go of her because she's toxic.
Yeah.
I'm like, when I was 13, 14, 15, I don't even think firstly I knew what toxic was. Let's start there. Now they're talking about cutting you off because you were toxic. And I'm like, we're in such a bad space. Because that little girl, right? This could have been her best friend to grow up with.
We are
But now she's talking about cutting them off.
self-consumed as a culture. It's
Bro,
like,
it's shocking.
If I don't like it, I don't agree with it.
Then we can't.
We can't. Now, I mean, I think there's obviously good ways for us to process a whole lot of that. But here's the thing I wanted to briefly touch on is, I think a reason why, as we're getting older, gracefully and all of that, I think the biggest thing that's also affecting us that we probably are not open enough on is trauma, pain, like the childhood pain issues, how we grew up, things that we wish happened to us that didn't happen to us.
Yes.
And we think it happened whatever many years ago. It's not affecting us in the current. Yet maybe how you grew up is affecting how you even see your relational lives, how you get over emotional stuff, how you handle your money. You know, maybe your overeating comes from the fact that you've always wanted love and acceptance from your parents that you didn't get. And maybe they were there, but they didn't communicate it in such a way that you wanted it to. And now it's easy for you to throw away friends. It's easy for you to throw people out.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe I think there's a lot more work we need to do, obviously around our own emotional health and all of that, but also just like trauma.
Yeah, bro. Bro, interestingly, because I think we need to do a pod on therapy firstly.
Yeah.
I feel like we're very woke to this stuff right now,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It
And
puts us in a better place.
Will we talk about the benefits and the negatives?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we definitely have to do. We have to do both because I think.
Am I allowed to say negatives? Or?
Listen, we're very woke to it. Wait, so here's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I think we're very woke to this stuff of trauma.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we need to do that pod.
Yeah.
I think it's super important, but we know the information, but I don't think we bring it to that level. That level of like, hey, listen, there is, like for me, it's stuff that I've been realizing, like, why am I like this? Why do I see this? I was listening, you know, the beauty of the internet, billionaires doing a pod, right?
Yeah.
Now you can watch billionaires talking, right? And so I'm listening to their psychology, and this one guy starts talking to the other guy, and he's asking him, why do you think like that? And so anyway, so he starts challenging him on how he thinks about how much more he can get or how much more he can achieve. And I started thinking about myself, and I realized, hey, there's ceilings that I have that I don't even know I have. Right? There's ceilings that I have that you can maybe see or hear from what I say, right? But I don't know. It's part of the blind spot,
yes.
Right? But here's where the ceilings are coming from. Traumas. How you grew up. Family of origin, right? And I'm like, yo, if we really, because we woke to it, but if we really take those things seriously, we can really get to a better place as a people and as a generation, right? And look, so we are people of faith, right? And I think what has happened, and I don't know if I'm going to say, they've made this thing about like, oh, people of faith here, Jesus, and psychology or doctors. I want to say, let's psychologists here. I wanted to study psychology, bro, right? And I remember talking to this man at church, and he was like, no, how can you study psychology? Do you know where psychology comes from?
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud. And now, I'm 15, 16, 17. I firstly don't know who Freud is, but to this man, Freud is the devil. Maybe he was, I don't know. Nah? But then he doesn't give me the full picture. And from that, I mean, I was like, okay, you remember I'm a new believer?
Yeah.
This Christian old man, he's made this dichotomy, right? This like, Jesus is this side, right? So it's out. But I'm like, if we're gonna anyway,
go with
and
that,
I guess I think that's another part. I think we should go in there.
Bro, you
but
said
anyway,
something very important.
Yeah.
Maybe people have put ceilings,
bro,
on their lives that they do not even know that they're there.
They don't. Yeah. They don't.
And they probably keep clashing. They change. They try to do this, do that, but they still...
There's something.
Because
and then it's generational curses. You know what I'm saying? That's what they call it. And it's like,
they call it. Yeah.
not necessarily,
Yeah,
bro.
that's what they
I
call
think
it.
is listen, generational sins. Yes,
I think we
maybe.
need to talk about that one. I think
we definitely
we'll
need to.
probably lose all our subscribers.
No.
but,
I think we need to. It's an important, and I think it connects with the psychology therapy discussion.
I'm gonna throw in some words, and then I need you to give me 1 or 2 sentences.
Okay.
Finances, as somebody growing up, as an adult. Finances. Give me wisdom.
Probably the most important thing the millennials are thinking about outside of, like, if you're a person of faith. I think we don't know enough. We don't know enough. I don't know if the other generations did, but like we don't know enough.
Yeah.
And we're struggling. And at the same time, we are the most probably informed or can be informed because of the internet, right?
About this.
Yeah.
Sex?
Sex. I don't know, bro. Sex, I think, is... that's an interesting one. What do you think? Let me flip that, because I think the finances one was easier in terms of, like, because that's top of mind. Sex is a bit like it's
The
broad.
practical thing
Yes.
is, if you're gonna go have sex with the world, know that you'll carry that for life.
Consequences.
Now we don't have to go through the whole soul ties thing.
Yeah. It's a different part. It's a different
and
part.
what people believe, but
Yeah.
no matter how much you will always remember it.
Okay.
You will always remember a person you had sex with
Yes.
for life.
Interestingly, because I heard...
Whether it was good,
yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
whether it was OnlyFans, it was whatever,
Yes.
you will never forget it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you want that seed in your heart and your life?
Bro, I heard a part about this, and the thing was, they were talking about how, believers who grew up like in the church, and how they stayed pure all their life. They didn't have, what's the name? Now they get to grown up, and then they like now they have somebody in their lives, and they married, and now they have sex. But in their mind, the temptation is like, oh, what have I missed out on, and what have I not experienced, and all this. Yeah. And the whole conclusion to that was like, actually, that's lies from the devil, because what he wants is, because you don't know the pain or the trauma or the consequences that come from having had that past, and now you have to deal with it in a marriage covenant relationship. Yeah. And I found that very interesting, because I don't think I've had.
Well, I look forward to us having a conversation, like
that?
a deeper conversation on sex, but we're not ready for that yet.
Okay, sure.
But I think we need to, because it carries a lot of this.
I feel like
the other thing I'd say around it is that if you are waiting, I wish you are, for sex to get married, to somebody of the opposite sex, that's even dramatic these days.
Listen.
You can't even say it.
Listen.
They're never going to fulfill you sexually.
Wow.
You never.
Definitely a different part.
They're never gonna. So they could fulfill you sexually. They could be phenomenal in bed.
Yes.
But they could be lacking in the emotional tank that fills your sexual tank.
Sheesh. Interesting.
Listen. Because sex isn't just two bodies coming together.
Yes, it's not.
It's not just two bodies.
That's what culture though wants you to think.
It's
right?
not just the energy.
It's just physical. It's strictly
it's not
biological.
just physical, right? Like, people are not just out there cheating because they just saw somebody prettier and better. It feels an emotional needs at times, because they obviously are chronic cheaters. But sometimes it feels an emotional need that you are not getting from the person that you thought would. And so you try fill it with sex.
Listen, emotional, spiritual need.
Yeah.
Because God created sex.
Exactly.
Right? And his idea of it is not what we see in culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And my worry, spending time with lots of Christian couples, it's so great because people are so open about sex.
Nice.
But I sometimes leave worried that we're so open and so candid about speaking about sex to the point where I get worried at how people make it seem like sometimes that's what marriage is all about.
It's the end all be all. It's 90% of...
Yeah. And it's cool that couples can talk about it.
Yes.
But I feel like the more we talk about it, it's creating so many ideas for people, even married people.
Yes.
Married people.
Wow.
It's creating so many ideas that, that couple's doing that. Maybe we should do it. Maybe there's something that's missing in our, you know. So it just creates these little gaps that sometimes I'm getting just a bit concerned personally. But maybe it could just be my own little. Because now I'm in that.
In that phase.
In those marriage stuff.
Trying to figure it out.
I'm hearing. So there's something there. There's so much we can talk about,
bro. Because I was gonna say, like, the sex thing is like, apart from, like, you know, sex, the act. It's like the whole kind of cultural outlook on it is it's very tied to all the other stuff with identity, right? Anyway, it is a different part. It is a different. Listen, I think I want to ask some of the guys that are watching, comment, because I think we're going in different segues, what you would like us to talk more on, or possible pods that we can do.
Yeah, maybe we touched it on a little bit.
Yes.
It would be cool to chat about OnlyFans sometime, you know.
Bro.
If you don't know it, don't know it.
If you don't know, you don't know.
Guys, this is what is good. Thank you so much for watching this specific episode of the Intentional Conversations podcast. Please do us a quick favor. The first one, whatever streaming platform you are streaming on, please go subscribe, leave a review, give us 5 stars, and just leave a review. Tell us about what you liked about this specific episode. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you